How do you connect people? What kind of introductions do you like to make?
The more I spend time with somebody, the more I know what would help.
How does that change the game for introducers like yourself or for other people who want to become introducers?
As you're building, always don't worry about today.
Yeah.
It's never about today.
Hey, this is Mike from introstars, and today we're super excited to bring you a brand new episode of the Super Connectors podcast in New York with a very special VIP guest, Jaime, the brand therapist and serial startup founder. Hey, Jaime.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So good to have you there. Can you tell us a bit more? What does it mean for you to be a super connector?
Honestly, it's just me being me, and people can call me whatever they want. I love people. I grew up under a psychologist. I started in advertising, and all I did was study people. So the more I spend time with somebody, the more I know what would help.
And so nowadays, in your day-to-day job as a brand therapist, how do you connect people? What kind of introductions do you like to make?
Well, I do focus a lot on personal branding, so it does come down to what would be a complementary brand to somebody else. Sometimes that's a company to a person, sometimes that's a person to a person, but whatever sparks in my head, it really more is, hey, would you be interested in, as opposed to, we're doing this.
And so in all the introductions you've made over the years, was there a pivotal moment you thought, I make so many introductions, I think I could call myself a super connector, or someone else called you that?
I think there were some big moments growing up under a psychologist, a guy he was the #1 recruiter for the League of Women Voters in my county. Like, it just was in there. When we had an open office at an agency, BBDO, all of a sudden I was walking the halls and I was, what are you working on? What are you working on? And I found out I was an extrovert. I had no idea I was an extrovert till then. And once you know that, know thyself, oh my God, it was rewarding for me to connect people because I'm an extrovert.
So when you make all these introductions, you obviously do it because you love to do it, you're an extrovert, you connect people, you bring value, but at some point you have to monetize somehow. So how do you walk the fine line between earning money, monetizing, but also building long-term relationships? How do you make sure it doesn't damage a relationship when you're actually monetizing that introduction?
To be fair, it is a spectrum, and it can go, all the way from just even, two people who fall in love or whatever, all the way to, big deals. And there's always a middle ground, but you just err on the side of karma. You err on the side of this will come around. But you always want to make sure, if you can sense something's coming, you can be just as light as, hey, if something happens out of this, we'll talk about some sort of return later.
So I like the fact you say it's on the spectrum, it's not all black and white, but there needs to be some kind of transparency where you tell them up front, you're honest, hey, maybe I'll get a chunk of this just as fair compensation because I made it happen. The question is, how do you make sure it's transparent for all the people involved? So if you look at platforms like introstars, where everything is super tracked, every introduction is black and white, every introduction you make and receive, and there's terms and conditions agreed by the two people, the person making the introduction, the person receiving it, how does that change the game for introducers like yourself or for other people who want to become introducers out there?
I can't find a better word than transparency, so I'm just going to use transparency again, but I'll give you the opposite of introstars. I introduced somebody to somebody else, they made a business deal out of it, and both of them said to me on the side, hey, you should be getting a finder's fee from the other person. And I'm sitting here in the middle going, how did that happen? And when you have transparency and everything is just set up beforehand where you can just shout out, this is what I'm looking for. It gives you that nobody is psychic. Nobody can tell what you're thinking. You have to meet people. Networking is really hard. But when the people I know are just stating in front of me, hey, I need this kind of person, that's an easy, super simple way of just making everything 1, 2, 3. And you can't beat that.
Exactly. I love when people actually say openly, I'm looking for introductions to these types of people. They're super specific and also specific about rewards. Like, if you introduce me to this person and I close the deal, I'll be happy to give you X% or whatever. Just that transparency upfront makes it so much easier for everyone, right?
Exactly.
So what would you say to young people who want to become super connectors or are looking for their next big thing and could think about being an introducer as a side hustle? What advice would you give them?
All networks are wonderful. Join as many as you can. Yes, you have to do LinkedIn. It's not the best, but it is the best of what we have. And as you're building, always don't worry about today.
Yeah.
It's never about today. And that's really the only advice I can give to somebody who's young and is only worried about today.
Cool. And so what are you working on right now where people can follow you? Where can we follow your adventures, see what you're up to, hear about the personal brand therapist? I want to hear about it.
You can certainly find me, as I was just saying, on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Brandtherapy.coach is where that is. And I'm also working on the startup right now is marked.dj. And by the time you see this, it's probably going to be up, mrkd.dj. Music and rights royalties for everybody.
Cool. Jaime, thank you so much for words of wisdom. We enjoyed our conversation. I can't wait to see it at many networking events and follow your adventures as a brand therapist and in your new startup as well.
Ditto for everything except the brand therapist.
Thank you so much. Bye, Jamie.